A presidential proposal, Trump's plan to deport U.S. citizens. This controversial plan has sparked intense debate and concern across the nation. On April 14, 2025, President Trump met with El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele. The meeting was held behind closed doors, but details soon emerged. The topic? Deporting U.S. citizens to foreign prisons. This unprecedented move has left many questioning its legality and morality. Trump's plan, send homegrown criminals and repeat offenders to El Salvador. The idea is to alleviate the overcrowded U.S. prison system. He argues that the U.S. needs more prison space. With American prisons bursting at the seams, this plan aims to provide a solution, and El Salvador is happy to oblige for a fee. The financial aspect of this deal has raised eyebrows and questions about its ethical implications. This proposal is deeply troubling. Critics argue that it undermines the fundamental rights of American citizens. It raises serious legal and constitutional questions. The U.S. Constitution guarantees certain protections that this plan seems to violate, and it sets a dangerous precedent for the rights of all Americans. If this plan goes through, it could open the door to further erosions of civil liberties. Trump claims he's looking into the legality of the plan. He insists that his administration is committed to finding a lawful path forward, but legal experts are clear: it's unconstitutional. They argue that deporting U.S. citizens to foreign countries for imprisonment is a clear violation of their rights. The U.S. cannot deport its own citizens to foreign countries for imprisonment. This plan, if implemented, would face significant legal challenges and public outcry. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a chilling example of what could happen if the system fails. Abrego Garcia is a U.S. citizen, born and raised in the United States. Despite his citizenship, he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador, a country he had never even visited. The Supreme Court intervened and ordered his immediate return to the United States. However, the Trump administration has refused to comply with this order. They argue that the Supreme Court's order is merely a suggestion, not a binding obligation. According to them, they only need to admit Abrego Garcia if he manages to return independently. But the reality is, he's currently a prisoner in El Salvador, unable to leave. He can't just hop on a plane and come back to the U.S. on his own. This case reveals a dangerous loophole in the system that the Trump administration could potentially exploit. If they can deport Abrego Garcia, a U.S. citizen, who's to say they won't deport other Americans in the future? This sets a worrying precedent for all citizens. Legal experts are sounding the alarm. They argue that Trump's plan violates fundamental constitutional rights. The U.S. Constitution guarantees due process of law to all citizens. Deporting citizens without a trial violates this right. The ACLU and other organizations are strongly opposed to the plan. They argue that it would create a system of mass deportation without due process. Senator Ossoff has also urged the administration to abandon the proposal, citing inhumane prison conditions in El Salvador. This plan is not about law and order, it's about undermining the Constitution and targeting vulnerable populations. Section 4. El Salvador's role. A willing partner in deportation? El Salvador is a willing partner in Trump's plan. The country already holds hundreds of U.S. deportees, often with limited due process. President Bukele has openly stated that he's willing to imprison U.S. citizens for a fee. In a February 2025 social media post, Bukele even questioned how he could return Abrego Garcia without smuggling him back. His words reveal a callous disregard for the rule of law and the rights of U.S. citizens. El Salvador's cooperation in this scheme is deeply troubling. It raises serious questions about the country's commitment to human rights. Section 5. The administration's response: silence and inaction. The Trump administration has offered little information about the deportation plan. Attorney General Pam Bondi is reportedly investigating its feasibility, but there have been no concrete details released to the public. The Justice Department has also been tight-lipped about the Abrego Garcia case. Despite a judge's request for daily updates on his condition, they have provided minimal information. This lack of transparency is unacceptable. The American people deserve to know what their government is planning. Section 6. A slippery slope. Historical parallels and future implications. Trump's deportation plan is not just a legal issue, it's a moral one. The very fabric of our society is at stake, as this plan challenges the core values of justice and equality that America stands for. When we look back at history, We see that such actions have often led to grave injustices and societal divisions. It evokes dark chapters in American history when the rights of citizens were trampled upon. The Civil Rights Movement, for instance, was a direct response to systemic injustices and the denial of basic human rights. The echoes of those struggles can still be felt today, reminding us of the importance of vigilance and resistance against any form of oppression. The internment of Japanese Americans during World War II is a chilling reminder of what can happen when fear and prejudice trump the rule of law. Thousands of innocent people were uprooted from their homes and lives solely based on their ethnicity. This dark period in history serves as a stark warning of the dangers of allowing fear to override justice. The indefinite detention of José Padilla, an American citizen accused of terrorism, also raises serious concerns about the government's overreach. His case highlights the potential for abuse of power when due process is ignored. It underscores the need for constant vigilance to protect our civil liberties. Trump's plan could be a slippery slope. Once the precedent is set, it becomes easier to justify further erosions of civil liberties. The path to authoritarianism is often gradual, marked by small, seemingly justified steps that accumulate over time. If he can deport U.S. citizens without due process, what's next? The erosion of rights for one group can quickly spread to others, creating a climate of fear and uncertainty. This could lead to a society where no one feels safe or secure in their rights. The potential implications for American democracy are terrifying. The very principles upon which this nation was founded are at risk. It is crucial for citizens to remain informed and engaged, to stand up against any actions that threaten our democratic values, and to ensure that history does not repeat itself.